This is the study guide for 4th and 6th periods, second exam on probability. I'm just going to get right into it. So number 1 says that Mike wants to know what the probability of flipping a coin is and getting heads. He flips the coin 10 times and gets heads. So for these ones we need to identify the theoretical probability and the experimental probability. So first we'll start with the theoretical probability. I'll just call that theoretical. And he's flipping a coin. So if he flips a coin 10 times, 5 of those should be heads, because we know that in flipping a coin there are 2 possible outcomes. One of those is heads. And we can divide both the top and the bottom by 5, and we'll get 1/2. Now for the experimental probability, I'll just call that EXP. He flips the coin 10 times. And out of those 10, he got 4 heads, 4 things that he wanted. And so we can divide these both by 2. And we'll get 2/5. And that is our experimental probability. That's all you have to do for number 1. For number 2, Marcus is wanting to know the probability of rolling a dice and getting a 3 or a 4. So he rolls a dice 24 times and lands on a 4 6 times and a 3 8 times. So if we think about theoretical probability, let's call it T here. The theoretical probability is rolling a dice and getting a 3 or a 4. So remember, on a normal die, our possible outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And of those things, we want a 3 or a 4. So there are 2 outcomes that we want out of 6 possible outcomes. I can divide both the top and the bottom by 2 here in order to reduce this fraction. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So we have a probability of 1/3 to roll either a 3 or a 4. Now if we look at experimental probability, he flipped it a total of 24 times. And of those 24 times, he landed on a 4 6 times, and he landed on a 3 8 times. So I just add those up. And 6 plus 8 is 14. Go ahead and place that here. I know that at least, because both these numbers are even, I know that I can divide both of these by 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 24 divided by 2 is 12. So my experimental probability for that Marcus observed is 7 out of 12. Alright, the next few questions just ask you to identify whether or not this is an example of independent events or dependent events. So I will just go through whether or not they are independent or dependent, and then I'll talk about the explanation, which on your exam you'll need to write. So Alejandra rolls a 3, so she gets to spin a center 6 times. This word right here, so, is usually an indication that these are dependent. She gets to spin the spinner 6 times because she rolled a 3. So spinning a spinner 6 times is dependent on the fact that she rolled a 3. Looking at the next one, number 4, Tiffany draws a king and then rolls a dice and gets a 4. This phrase right here, and then rolls a dice, and then specifically, typically means that these are independent. And if you think about it, she rolled a 4, but it had nothing to do with the fact that she drew a king. They're unrelated. Alright, moving on. Jeff draws a purple marble from her bag, and then without replacement draws a red marble from her bag. Well, we know that the probability from drawing a purple marble is going to be affected the next time he goes to draw a red marble. So we know that this is independent. Sorry, I'm having some issues with my cursor. So I can't see it myself. I know that you can't see it on the screen, but right now I can't see it either, so it's making it a little difficult to figure out where I'm writing. But anyway, so that's that, and we'll go ahead and move on to the next set. One second, I'm sorry, this cursor is really starting to bother me. Alright, sorry about that. Number 6. Flipping a coin. Well, it seems to also have fixed my mouse issues too. So I'm really sorry about that. Flipping a coin 6 times and getting the following: heads, then tails, then heads, then heads, then heads, then tails. So if we look at each one of these individually, the probability of flipping a heads, oh boy, is 1/2. And then the probability of flipping a tails is 1/2. And then heads is also 1/2. Heads is 1/2. Heads is 1/2. And tails is also 1/2. So we take all of these individual probabilities, and we know that according to the FCP, we can multiply all of these together. On the top, 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 is just 1. On the bottom, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. We can math that out. 2 and 2 is 4. 2 and 2 is 4 here. And 2 and 2 is 4 here. 4 times 4 is 16. And 16 times 4 is 64. So we have a 1 in 64 chance of flipping a coin and getting these results. Number 7. What is the probability that Todd will take a standard deck of cards, draw a king, and then without replacement draw an ace? Well, the first time we have 4 kings out of 52 cards. And then the second time, after he's taken a king out and tossed it out, there are 3 kings, but that's not necessarily important because there are still 4 aces left to draw the second time. This time there are only 51 cards. And again, the FCP says that we can multiply these together. 4 times 4 is 16. Now on the bottom, we can math this out. 52 times 51. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 5 is 5. And we'll move on to the next place. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 1 more is 26. And we can add these up. We get 2,652. Oh, I lost my mouse again. I'm really sorry about that. Okay, I got it. There we go. 2,652. And I don't know if 4 can go into both of these numbers, but we can start with 2 and see what happens, because I know both of these numbers are even. So I can divide them both by 2. 16 divided by 2 is 8. And 2,652 divided by 2 is 1,326. Both of these numbers are even, so I know that I can continue to divide them by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 1,326 divided by 2 is 663. Now, these aren't both even, so we can't continue to take 2 out. And the only numbers that go into 4 are 2 and 4 and 1. So this is as far as we can take this one. Alright, we'll go ahead and move on to the next question. Number 8. All the letters in the word Arizona are thrown into a bag. What is the probability of reaching in and drawing an A and then drawing an R with replacement? So this is important. So the first thing we're doing is it's asking us what the probability of drawing an A is. So if we look at Arizona, there are 2 A's, so 2 of the letters we want, and there are a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So our first event has a probability of 2 out of 7. And then for the second event, it's asking us with replacement, so we're putting our letter back, what the probability of drawing an R is. Note that there is 1 R in Arizona with a probability of 1/7. And the FCP says that we can multiply these together. 2 times 1 is 2. 7 times 7 is 49. Alright, and let's move on to the next question. Number 9. A spinner has 4 equal parts: red, orange, green, and blue. What is the probability that Sean will spin and land on orange or red and then roll an odd number? This should be rolling an odd number on a dice. I apologize for that. It should be fixed in your study guide. But so it has a hint here, and it says to draw the picture of the spinner, and I suggest doing that. So we'll go ahead and draw our spinner, and we will split it into 4 relatively equal parts, or they're supposed to be relative. And it says that one of them is red, one of them is orange. Let's see if I can get a darker red than that. And we'll just call the first one orange. Red. The other one is green. And the last one is blue. So the first question, or the question it asks, it wants us to find out what the probability, or Sean wants to know, what the probability of landing on orange or red is, and then rolling an odd number. Well, we have 4 different colors here, and red and orange make up 2 of those colors. So that's our first probability. And then rolling an odd number, well, if you think about a dice, the different options are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And out of those options, our odd numbers are 1, 3, and 5. So if there are 6 different options, 3 are the ones I'm willing to accept or that I want. The FCP says I can multiply these together. 2 times 3 is 6. 4 times 6 is 24. And what you may have noticed is that you can reduce both of these fractions. 2 divided by 4, or 2 over 4 becomes 1/2. And 3 over 6 becomes 1/2. And you can multiply these together to get 1 over 4. And if I divide 6 and 24 both by 6, I will get 1 over 4. Alright, number 10. When grading tests, Chris used a spinner with the letters A through D and F. If there are 26 students in the class, what is the probability that he draws your name and spins an F, and then draws your class partner's name and spins an F again? So, first probability is drawing your name. So he has a probability of drawing your name out of the 26 students. There are 26 possible students. You are one of them. And then he is, so let's see. drawing your name and spinning an F. Well, to spin an F, he has A through D and F, so he's got A, B, C, D, E, and F. So there are 6 letters total. F is one of those letters. And then, let me go ahead and underline that, spins an F. And then he draws your class partner's name. Well, at this point there are only 25 students left, and your class partner is one of those students. And then Chris spins an F again. Well, we know that spinning an F has a probability of 1/6. So now I can take all of these and multiply them together. 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. And then if I multiply 26 times 6, sorry, I'm having cursor issues again. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 2 is 12. Plus 3 more is 15. So I've multiplied these two together. Oh, what is happening? Alright, so now I take 156. I'm going to multiply that by 6. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 3 more is 33. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 more is 9. So I've multiplied this number out. So now I'm going to multiply this huge number by 25. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 3 more is 18. 5 times 9 is 45, plus 1 more is 46. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 more is 7. And 2 times 9 is 18. Now I can go ahead and add all of these up. 0 plus 0 is 0. 8 plus 2 is 10. 6 plus 7 is 13, plus 1 more is 14. 8 plus 4 is 12, plus 1 more is 13. And 1 plus 1 is 2. And there is a 1 in 23,400 chance that when I start grading your tests that I will draw your name and spin an F, and then draw your partner's name and spin an F again. That is the end of your study guide for this test. I hope you study up. And I will see you guys, actually, yes I will. I will see you guys Monday for your test.